It's not even controversial anymore.
People know in Florida their freedoms are going to be respected.
Miranda, hello, happy Thursday.
Hello, and happy Thursday.
And also maybe a happy Thursday for Ron DeSantis, who finally got a win in his feud with Disney.
Yes, we're back to business here in Florida, and a judge went ahead and tossed out the First Amendment lawsuit that he was dealing with this last year from Disney, basically saying like their First Amendment right was not infringed on and we're not going to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, and the idea Disney really felt as if like, hey, we spoke out against the Don't Say Gay bill, which was the media's name, and then he came after us for exercising our First Amendment rights, and so a judge tossed that out. I love this headline, though. Federal judge dismissed the Bob Iger-run corporation's First Amendment lawsuit against the Florida governor and failed GOP presidential candidate. So I love how they're just like, governor, but also failed candidate. It's very funny.
They got to get their jabs in there somewhere, I guess.
Well, and now he gets the jabs from both the left media, which he's always got the jabs, but also the right media that's like more pro-Trump. They're just going to be mean to him too, so he can't win. Okay. A transgender issue. So in Washington State, you can go and change the gender on your birth certificate if you want to reflect what you believe your gender identity is. In Florida, now it is prohibited to change your sex on your driver's license?
Yeah, so in 2018, they had put through a policy that allowed people that got, the proper paperwork from their doctors and physicians to be able to change their sex on their driver's license to the gender they identify with. But as of this past week, they have reversed that policy, basically stating that the sex on a identification, like a piece of identification, has always been related to the gender you were born with. And it kind of goes against the whole purpose of an identification document to change your sex to what you internally identify on. And it's just so they just reversed that this week. And anybody who had already had a driver's license that was reflecting their gender of choice can have it until it expires. But moving forward, they're not going to be able to do that anymore.
The only counter argument I would have to that is because you said it, the driver's license is an identification document and as such serves as a critical role in assisting public and private entities in correctly establishing the identity of a person presenting the license. My only thought is there are some transgender people who genuinely look like the other gender. Like they've done things, they present as the other gender. So in that sense, if you've got someone who presents as a woman, but it says man, that actually could be just as confusing. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is, but it seems like that argument runs into a couple barriers.
It really does. I think we're all kind of, that community, everybody included, is just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right now because, it's one of those things that eventually I think that things will catch up, and they'll be able to get documents that reflect, like you said, because I have trans friends and they absolutely present as the gender they identify with. So in those cases, I would think that they would be able to get the right, physician documents and stuff to be able to present on their driver's license appropriately. But it's hard to, it's either all or none. So I don't know.
It's weird. It presents a lot of issues because if you're an officer and you need to do a search on someone, you're going to get an officer that reflects the gender of the person that you're searching. But if the gender on the card isn't accurate, it's like, okay, well, then you're going to get a little surprise, when you go about and do that. But I guess also you do have a picture on there. So it's going to be a picture of them, and it might be a picture of someone who looks, for all intents and purposes, like a woman, but their thing says male, and so then you can just put two and two together and be like, okay, maybe they're transgender. Weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's one of those things where it's like, I understand why Florida does it, but I also kind of think it might further complicate things. So a story about, one of my favorite political figures. Maybe I need to change my mind. I don't know. So the Democrats in Florida want Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, failed GOP presidential candidate, since we're putting that label on anyone and everyone who's ever run for president. They want him to resign.
Yeah, they want him to resign. They're basically citing that, Miami has been notorious for having politicians who are a little bit crooked or like to get benefit personally from their positions in office. And they're basically putting this on Mayor Suarez as well. We've talked about this before. They've questioned how he gets Miami Heat tickets, concert tickets. He gets invited to some pretty high-end parties with a lot of movers and shakers in the industry outside of politics. And, they're basically saying that he's corrupt and they want him to step down as well. And honestly, Miami is a special place because everybody down here is like, people come here for like elite things, like sporting events that are like top tier, and there's celebrities everywhere, and there's big yachts all over the place. It's kind of hard to not find yourself on one in a party. I don't know. It's a hard place to be as a mayor of this city because you want to be part of this city, but being questioned every time you attend a sporting event or something, I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's a great politician. I think he's done a lot for the city. I don't know why they go after someone who's so successful in his job and want him to step down over speculation.
I love how you're like, it's hard not to find yourself on a yacht. Like you just trip, you trip on the sidewalk on the curb and you're just, on Jeff Bezos's yacht in Miami. But look, you have to still meet reporting requirements. I mean, there are requirements in Washington state where if you're a politician and someone gifts you tickets to something, you have to report that. It has to be documented. So even though I like what he's done politically in Miami and he's done a lot of good things, if he's not following the rules, he needs to be. It's also, Democrats want him to resign. Of course they do, and so that's not much of a surprise. They really don't like that a Republican mayor has what used to be a reliably blue city and county. So, all right, Miranda, great stuff. Lovely to see you, sister dear. And I would also say a happy early birthday on Saturday.
Yes, I am going to be 100 years old on Saturday.
That's the key. You tell people you're older and they're like, wow, you look good. So I like to tell people I'm like 45. And they're like, wow, what's your secret? So you'll be 37, is that right?
37, yes.
37.
I attribute my young looks to the beautiful sunshine and warm air of Florida.
Yes, and a healthy diet. You've always been a very healthy eater. But anyway, all right, we'll get more of your beauty regimen next week when you are 37 and see how you feel. Miranda, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
It's not even controversial anymore.
People know in Florida their freedoms are going to be respected.